is Nicholas Courgi. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for having me come and speak to you about my experiences with autism and my life. I graduated from Fayetteville Manlius in 2010 and got an associate's degree in professional communication at OCC in spring 2014. I began lecturing after my article was published by the Syracuse Post-Standard in April 2010. You can find it on syracuse.com. Just type in Nicholas Courgi. You can also view videos of me on YouTube. On the outside, I'm a regular guy, but on the inside, I'm different. I'm 24 years old, born in Syracuse, New York. I was a happy child, but I wasn't very social. At age 2, my parents enrolled me in preschool. At age 3, for show and tell, they discovered that I could read by showing me the words on the flashcards instead of the photos, and I read them all. I knew words, but would not converse other than echolalia, which is a repetition of words usually associated with autism. I would not converse with other children. I was attached with my flashcards, books, animal figurines, and puzzles. When kids wanted my attention, they grabbed my backpack so I would chase them. I carried my books around in a backpack, which was very heavy and simulated the weighted vest that I use now to calm people down who need that sensory feedback. However, I did not realize that at the time. That's what I was doing. The director suggested that I should be tested when I was around 3.5 years old, and that is when I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism. I enrolled in Jamonio for early intervention. They taught me basic sign language to prompt speech. I was pronouncing words wrong. I could, however, carry a tune. My mom knew something was wrong with my hearing. I had several ear infections as a young child. Something was wrong with my hearing. She took me to the doctor and they said, "I can hear." She said, "I know he could hear, but he's not hearing clearly because of the way I was pronouncing the words." So she took me to a specialist who did a different procedure, which is a tympanogram, which identifies middle ear problems such as fluid collecting behind the eardrum because of frequent infections and the biology of the young ear. So I had tubes put in my ears which drained the fluid and I could hear clearly. Then she had to correct my pronunciation because I hear Tosh instead of Josh, for example. Luckily, I love the alphabet, and my mom had taught me to sign the alphabet, so she would finger spell the letter I was mispronouncing, and I get it right away. So the next part of my life, I have something, a photo album regarding about the next topic, which is closed captioning and scripting.
Help him, Mama, help him.
So my mom decided that one way to help me converse is through closed captioning and scripting. She showed me videos on subjects she wanted me to learn, such as the alphabet, safety, and manners. Examples of videos I would watch as a kid included Barney, Sesame Street, Arthur, and Disney. And all the song lyrics would appear too. So on the phone, my mom was scripted down. "Hi Grandma, how are you? I am fine." But on vacation, my mom would put the photos in chronological order and type out the story in large font and insert it into the photo albums like a storybook. So I went to school, I would present the album and read it to the kids like a story until I couldn't tell it without reading it. It would also help me discuss my vacations. Whenever there was a subject my mom needed me to understand, She would either write it down or get me a video that had closed captioning, so I can see it, I can hear it, and I can learn it. I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite hobbies and the hobby that made me the person who I am today, which is theater. I started from reciting lines from movies. My parents, they knew what I was doing, but unless someone recognized the movie, they had no idea what I was talking about. For example, when I was 4 years old, my family and I were coming back from Florida. I picked up the phone on the plane and recited from The Princess Bride. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. My parents fell over laughing by falling out of their seats. Again, that was my very first full-on sentence. Another example was when I stood up when I was little at Dominic's restaurant. My parents begged me to sit down because they were nervous what I was going to announce. I announced I would like to make a toast for all the waiters and waitresses who worked so hard to bring you your food today. And the audience broke out in applause. And from that moment on, my mom enrolled me in Syracuse Children's Theater, where I was taught to act, sing, and dance. It helped me with confidence and improving my comprehension as far as where my character was in the story. I performed in over 35 musicals and plays with them and other theater groups, including my school and the town of Manlius. I appeared in many musicals and plays such as Phantom of the Opera, Grease, Once on This Island, Aladdin, The Wiz, The Producers, West Side Story, Peter Pan, and more. They believed in me enough to give me the lead many times, and also gave me the confidence to continue my success. I also played the role of Old Deuteronomy in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats in May 2016 while working for Syracuse Children's Theater. So here are some key points of what I learned about having autism. So social situations are difficult for people with autism. Not that we don't love like people, we do. It's just eye contact is considered polite for the neurotypical person. However, for autistic people, eye contact is very distracting. We are misinterpreted for being rude. That's not our intention. That is the same with our honesty. We are a bit too literal. For example, when I was younger, we went on a car ride to nowhere. I asked my parents, "Where are we going?" They replied, "Just go with the flow." A few minutes later, I asked them, "How long does it take to get to go with the flow?" I thought it was a place. So you have to understand that certain expressions and jokes are completely lost on us. We can feel left out. I also have difficulty distinguishing between sarcasm and sincerity. Another thing I learned about having autism was that individuals on the autism spectrum, they have specific interests and tend to talk about those interests. It's not easy for me to join in other people's conversations. If you talk to me, I can discuss many things with you. However, I'm intimidated to walk up to a group of people and join in the conversation. So being autistic is like musical chairs. You always feel like you're the last person standing. It can get lonely. So if you see someone in that situation, rescue them. Go up and talk to them. So myself and some people on the autism spectrum tend to flap our arms and rock our bodies. That doesn't mean we are upset or mad. Sometimes we are excited or anxious. Sometimes we are bored. It calms us. In school, I had to signal with my teacher to remind me to calm down, or they put their hand on my shoulder gently. Everyone, it's calm for me. The term that describes the sentence is called sensory integration. Everyone has it, but it's exaggerated with us, like a typical person who taps their foot or twirls their hair, doodling with a pen when they're anxious. We don't realize that sometimes. It's calming for me to rock. And that is where occupational therapy helped me in my younger years. They would take me out to swing or jump on a trampoline. But it was always important that these activities take place before concentrated learning, where you have to pay attention to something. It does not make sense to have OT before lunch or recess. It was always important to me, even now, to be seated in front of the class or event, away from a window where there are less distractions. I used to get more time on exams and have note takers in college. Another one of my favorite hobbies was photography. So when I was younger, I get very nervous of going to family events or functions. So my mom tried an experiment with me. Starting with the family events, my mom gave me a camera and told me that I have to attend as the photographer and share my photos with the host as a gift or on Facebook. Instead of talking to people, I would mingle and be responsible for photographing the event. So that was when I decided to be a part of my school's yearbook committee as a photographer in 7th, 11th, and 12th grade. I also photographed events for Student Association at OCC for social media. Now I'm asked to photograph events, and it's part of my job. I'm now asked to photograph weddings, grad parties, and fundraisers. For another thing that made me the person who I am today is being a part of student government. So I wanted to make a difference and do something other than theater. So in high school, I ran for student government and was elected to office for 3 years. The kids were always supportive. I served as the vice president of my sophomore class, nominated as the public relations officer of my junior class, and was the public relations officer for student council my senior year of high school. I helped organize many social events at school, such as junior prom and dance marathon. When I got to college at OCC, I joined the Student Association and worked with them each year, helping to organize and promote their events. So even though the kids were very supportive at FM, it was a whole different story with the administration. The administration was great up until high school. Then they considered me an IEP student. My mom always said, don't let anyone's opinion of you become your reality. When they said I was exempt from taking a foreign language, I still took French for 3 years and was the best in the class.
All right.
They wouldn't give me an assistant in high school. They wouldn't give me a Regents competency exam if I failed a Regents exam. They just said, go to OCC and you'll get into the benefit program. But they never said I had to pass a test to get matriculated. The Ability to Benefit program allows students to take classes that satisfy both their GED and associate requirements. FM never taught me enough math because I was an IEP student. So my mom yelled at FM and they encouraged her to keep me at FM until I was 21 years old. But she lost faith in them and put me at OCC immediately. So we enrolled at OCC and I took the non-credit classes and credit-bearing classes, even though I was not matriculated for the first year. OCC wanted me to take the placement test again because my mom refused, telling them that I was getting good grades and to look at my grades and speak with my teachers. If I was doing well, she refused to let a test and all my accomplishments stand in the way. And if it was up to her, she would enroll me in for all the courses until I finished them all successfully. Well, luckily, after the first year, OCC looked at my grades and decided to enroll me in the Ability to Benefit program, which meant both my courses applied to my GED and associate's degree. I was luckily grandfathered. They reinstituted the ATB program that just got started in September 2015. I graduated OCC with a 3.1 GPA in 2014. I was also awarded the Curriculum Honor Award in my department and had the opportunity to speak to the Board of Trustees the day before I got the award. At OCC, I volunteered for 3 years for the Student Association, 2 semesters with the new Media Marketing Department, and worked at the Disability Services Office. The services I used at OCC included the Disability Services Office, the Math Lab, Content Tutoring Center, Testing Center, Writing Skills Center, Careers Counseling Center, and Study Skills Center. They offer exceptional services that I recommend new and existing students to take advantage of and utilize on a regular basis. Every semester I attended OCC with the support, obviously, from the Disability Services Office. I had my professor sign my accommodations sheet detailing every accommodations that I require for their classes, such as a calculator, alternative testing location, and a note taker. It's my way of telling them that I have a learning disability.